Hey guys, welcome to the Investor's Guide of Memphis Real Estate. I am your host, Dean Harris, and as always, I'm with Douglas Skipworth. How are you?
Hey man, doing great.
Good. We're bringing you guys this podcast to give you the boots on the ground knowledge to be a successful investor here in Memphis, Tennessee. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spotify, Facebook, wherever you want to watch or listen to the podcast. Show sponsors are listed below: Corlin Financial, CrestCore Property Management, Triumph Construction, Local Title, and then Will Griffin with Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer. Couldn't do our show, run our business without those sponsors, so please like and follow those guys as well. I help buyers and sellers every day. If you're interested in selling, buying any Memphis real estate, Dean at CrestCore.com, and I'll help you get set up with that. Today, Douglas, with all the negativity and with all the hype about options and inventory and all these things being low, I thought it would be a good podcast today to talk about what to do when you're hit with some of these things, meaning, your inventory's low, your interest rate's high, the options that you think you have out there at a minimal, it's just kind of doom and gloom if you talk to the wrong person.
Right.
Today, we're going to talk to the right person. These are things, what do we do now? And my first kind of big 30,000 foot comment was manage your current portfolio. If you've owned one or 100, during these times, I've mentioned this prior, that managing your current portfolio and what you have working and I guess kind of what's under your umbrella right now is to start, cleaning things up. What are some of the things that when we talk about like managing your own portfolio in lower times do you think about?
Man, I think you're right. It's that mindset of taking the obstacle and making the opportunity, kind of taking some anxiety and turn it into action. So that's what we're talking about. And then capitalizing on this opportunity to look at your portfolio. So you can do a little deeper dive and maybe it's right sizing the portfolio. Maybe it's
explain that.
When you do a deeper dive and you're looking at your portfolio and you're looking at the properties and you want to see their performance, then you might realize that, hey, in the good times, that you took advantage of opportunities and maybe you need to whittle down. Now it's time to clean up. You go to the store and you look at the sale rack and everything's on sale, so you buy it all and you come home and you're like, 6 months later, like, oh, I really didn't need that. Maybe I'll put that on eBay and sell it.
Great example. Because even if you only have 3 houses, if you have 2 or whatever, if you have 200, it's the same kind of process. Go through and look at what you maybe can clean up, any repairs, anything that you might need, similar to cleaning out the old clothes that you're not wearing in the closet. Extremely similar. How about paperwork and leases?
Absolutely. Make sure your leases are up to date. You got everything you need. Make sure they're renewing or extending those leases. Like you say, getting all your paperwork, getting all your maintenance. This is a great chance to do the preventative maintenance, deep dive.
Man, I got hit with that this week. I've not hit, but that's something I'm doing this week.
Yes.
On all of mine. It's preventative maintenance. Maybe help me if I'm missing any of it, but it's air filters, carbon dioxide, batteries, and
carbon monoxide, fire extinguishers.
All the stuff.
Maybe you're going in there quarterly, minimum twice a year, but checking for leaks, things that tenants might or might not report. So you're trying to get ahead of that. Just looking and keeping your eyes on the property, and then in the spring and fall, you do a little deeper dive on the HVAC system. So.
If you have a larger portfolio, one of the things during this time is to look to see if you need to sell. You've done this before and can maybe speak to this a little bit further than me. I can't say I haven't sold anything, but I haven't looked at my portfolio and decided, hey, I need to sell 5 of these or whatever it may be. It might be time for me to do that. I've just been in the buy
accumulation mode.
That's right. So it might be time for me to do that. But talk about that a little bit and what goes through your thought process and mindset when you flush the toilet or clean out the closet.
Well, I think it goes to different seasons and cycles and times of your investing career, that there are opportunities to slow down and look. And that's when things slow down a bit. You can take the time to do that. Or if you can't find the deals you're looking for, that like, okay, keep working on it. And so for sale, I think you're able to look and, to have whatever these questions you're like, is this the location I want to be? Is this the rent rate I want to be in? Is this providing the cash flow I want it to provide? And times change. So you just need to always be reevaluating if that property meets your needs. Does it still meet your needs? Does whatever you have purchased
meet your needs?
Is it accomplishing what you wanted it to accomplish? And if it is, great. And if it's not, then there are opportunities. Why is it? Is it because it needs some deferred maintenance and it needs some repairs to get it up, to get the market rent up, or something changed in the neighborhood and you want to get out of the neighborhood? Or maybe we were talking to a guy the other day. It's like, this isn't bad, but there's a higher and better use
there you go.
in this opportunity. So it's like, it's not necessarily this is underperforming. It's just like there's such a better opportunity over here that I got to leave this to get to that and go to that.
If you have a property that's underperforming, how long will you let it be in the red before you'd say it's maybe sell that? And I know that answer could be for someone right now because they're in a hurry. So this isn't a paint one brush stroke here for everybody, but. How long you run red on a property that, by the way, is in a good area that you bought, you bought in an area that you think is good. It's a brick, whatever, it met your criteria at the beginning, but now you're X amount of time into it. It's running red. How do you get out of it? How long and where did you get through that mental? Cause when you buy these things, know, and I know, these are infant-born babies.
Yes, right.
You know what I'm saying? Sweetheart. Yeah. No. So you nourish
very
and you care.
much attached.
So it's like selling them. It's an emotional drag. It would, because every time I thought about selling one of them, I'm like, man, no. So I've got to get over the mental part of it. So I'm asking you, just because you've been through this, and this is helpful for anyone else that's listening, how long? Because that might be the question. Like, Dean Douglas, I'm running a 12 portfolio or rental house portfolio here, and 3 of these have not made me any money in 2 or 3. You know what I mean? However long.
If in a long perspective, I think everybody would say 3 out of 5 years.
Okay.
I think this is going way back. I think their IRS rules are something to the effect, if you're losing money 3 out of 5 years on a deal, like what's a hobby versus a business?
Yeah.
And if you're always losing money, it's a hobby. Right? So like, this isn't a hobby. So I would be like, if the IRS says it's a hobby, then like you want to be way in front of like that.
You're running a business that the IRS tells you is a hobby.
Yeah, then you're in trouble. So good point.
It is. I mean, so that's 3 out of 5 years. That's good. I mean,
but you whittle that down. So that's 60% of the time, right? So is it 60% of a year? Is it 60% of 2 years? Is it 60% of, so at some point, you got to make a personal decision. Make a personal, you can't just base that one on everybody else says.
That's right.
But you have to have some type of objective criteria by which to judge.
Today we're talking about options are low, inventory's low, rates are up. What are we doing during these times? We're managing our current portfolio. We're cleaning up things that we can, paperwork, leases, selling anything off that we need to sell. The next thing I would say is like, I'm going to be very careful when I word this and as I advise this, but don't be afraid to extend your buy box. And here's what I mean by that. So I bought last year, rates were going up, but I bought a good amount of Burr properties, and a large majority of them fell between the 70 and 85,000 price range. They needed between $20 and $40,000 worth of rehab. Okay. I had a really high interest rate on those because everybody does and did. So I extended my buy box last year, and I extended my willingness threshold for cash flow. Because at the 8.5 or 9 or whatever they're locked in at, it's not going to be there forever, right?
Yeah.
Will it go back down to 3? No, I'm not even planning on that. Never. But can we get into the 5 and 6 range again? Of course. And there's what I'm waiting on. I sacrificed, and I was willing to pay the price financially to go ahead and accumulate more of those properties at 75 and 80 grand. That's the baseline of those. I don't care how much work they can have some work, right? Like I'm not going to say I don't care how much work, but if it's standing there, right, it doesn't have too much work for 75 grand, right?
Yeah.
Those houses are now probably going for 90.
Well, and that was my question, because I knew when we talked about extending your buybacks and doing that, and I had here, are the properties you purchased last year more valuable today?
100%, not double the value, but the answer is yes. They are more valuable now than they were last year.
Yes.
By maybe 10 and 15% even, because of the condition and where they're at and how valuable that asset was. Yeah. Taking somebody a house now that's 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, that needs 25 or 30 grand for 75 grand, I can't find that now. So that was my reason for extending it. I'm not in any kind of trouble now, but I am paying more for those houses than I want to pay for them. It's just the facts, right?
Yes.
So what I'm saying, when I say extend your buy box, I don't say you go put yourself completely underwater. But if you found a home in a great area that had great features about the property in a good rental market with a good tenant base, but you're $100 difference in your cash flow, so extend your buy box and get the property, right? Yeah. That's my advice. Yeah. Some people might not look at that and say, hey, Dean, I'm not buying until it's, the circle fits in the circle hole, right? I'm not doing that. But, to me, don't be afraid to extend it. Don't be afraid to go a little bit further to accumulate or to acquire a good asset.
Well, there's so much going through my head now with everything you said there. We've talked before about accumulating assets. Like, that's the name of the game. So like, if you're just sitting on the sideline, you're not accumulating the assets. Mm-mm. I understand you're saying sometimes they're more cash flow challenged, like you've extended the buyback, so those properties are cash flow challenged, meaning you're potentially having to put money in sometimes, but the value's increasing.
Yep.
But there are things you can do. If you are super aggressive and trying to put these things on 15-year notes, maybe you put them on 20-year notes. Yeah. If you're putting them on 20-year notes, maybe you put them on 30-year notes. And again, maybe there's a time where the rates come down and you can refinance it and get caught back up. Or maybe something happens such that you can put some towards principal, and when maturity comes, you can put it on a shorter amortization. Yeah. Not to mention, constraints are good. Like most people don't like constraints, but constraints are good because, and especially with a mortgage, because it's a forced savings mechanism. Yes. Like, oh man, you get an extra $1,000. Are you going to use that when the COVID money came in? Yeah. What did you choose to do with that COVID money? Did you spend it or did you put it towards investing? I'm
That's
sure.
Right. I'm sure there's a mixed bag of that.
There is, but if you had a mortgage, if you had to put it to work, in savings,
it would be there for you now.
It would be there for you now, and it's a good thing. So
there's my don't be afraid to move. Open up that funnel a little bit to try to get some more options. And I'm not saying go buy everything. I'm just saying open up that buy box a little bit. Look at some more options. The last thing we'll talk about when it comes to this was educate yourself. And that might be kind of piggybacking off of don't be afraid to extend your buy box, right? If you're extending your buy box, I feel like you're learning more. I didn't say extend your closing box. Extend your buy box. Like this is what I'm willing to look at to buy, right? Good. So you're going to learn more during that process. You're going to get more options. You're going to say no more, but it's not a waste of time.
Yeah, you're learning. You're
learning as you go along. So educate yourself, right? We've got that's to me the most hands-on way to learn is to be involved with it, to be involved right in the middle of everything, right? So learning on the job, learning while you're looking at other options and other things coming in, to me is one of the fastest ways to educate yourself on a market. Books.
Yeah.
Learning that way is another one.
Right. And I meant there's again so much that I think when you have, don't forget your negotiables, like your non-negotiables. Mm-hmm. Like when I started, I had 2 non-negotiables. When I started, it's like I could not put a lot of money into these deals because I just didn't have a lot of money to put in deals.
Right.
So I had to borrow a lot of money. So number 1 was like, I can't put money into these deals. Number 2 was, if I'm borrowing all this money and have this debt, then I have to be as close to 100% certain that I could sell this property for what I owe. Not making money, but I can't sell it. I can't sell it and owe money to the bank because I don't have money to pay the bank.
That's right.
So those were my two non-negotiables. Well, over time, things have changed. And so I knew people who their non-negotiables are like, I'm never personally guaranteeing anything. I'm like, okay.
That's limiting.
Yeah, but it's your non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is your non-negotiable?
Yeah.
And as they change, it helps you, kind of gives you opportunities to look at other stuff. So to your point, I've been able to extend my buy box on certain things and look at different neighborhoods. And so I had non-negotiables on neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I had non-negotiables on types of property. Or let me rephrase that. I didn't have non-negotiables on some neighborhoods, and I didn't have non-negotiables on types of property. And now that I've come along, now I do. Like, I'm not going to buy in that zip code or neighborhood. I'm not going to buy at that bedroom or bath count or that type of brick siding or siding or whatever type of veneer of the construction.
Sure. Do you have, this is maybe a sidebar, but we'll get back to it. Do you have any now? Do you have
That's
any
what I'm saying. No, like, yes. Like in the past, I had non-negotiables of like these two. Now, and my non-negotiables were like, I can't put money in and I got to be able to sell it for what I owe.
Right.
So now, but I didn't have a governor or any kind of restriction on where I'd buy or what type of house. And so now I'm like, there are places I won't. You couldn't give me a house in certain places. The first thing I do is sell it.
Oh, I'm about to tell you where.
Yeah, I've
got 3 areas.
I would sell it. Even in the areas that some people like, and when we do a zip code breakdown, it's like they're good zip codes. I just don't want to own there.
Yeah.
For me, for now.
Yeah.
So I've been able to become more non-negotiable on certain things because you've just changed.
What are your so? And I'll share mine. I only have one non-negotiable thing. And it's 3 zip codes that I just won't buy.
Yeah. You won't, but you have like, there's certain, are there certain types of houses you won't buy? Siding, 2 bedrooms.
I'm very limited on siding, but when I say non-negotiable.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe you'll make an exception.
Well, if the price is right.
Okay.
But I don't care what you give me in 38114, 38106, and 38126. It doesn't matter. You can hand it to me free. I'm going to give it right back or do what you did. I'm going to instantly sell it.
Yeah. Instantly.
Other than that, you could give me a house in an area where maybe I don't own in. And if the numbers are right and it looks right, then maybe I'll take that. Like, that's what now at the very beginning, that's why I was asking you that question.
Yeah.
Like at the very beginning, we all had some non-negotiables, right? Like fresh out of college, I need to look for my wife. You've got non-negotiables, right?
Yes.
You're 40, you're looking for a wife. Imagine you've got less non-negotiables. Right. Okay. Same thing here, right? You're at the very beginning of the 1 or 2 houses. Like, I'm sticking to it. 35 houses in, maybe I'll take a little flyer on something and that is not exactly what I initially started out for.
Yes.
To me, that's helped me along the way.
Yeah.
Develop a little bit more experience, a little bit more knowledge about certain areas. I mean, because I was willing, because I remember when I started this, it was 118 and 128. And I'm not coming out of there. Those are some of the best areas to rent on. I'm not coming out of there. I own in 10 zip codes now, right? So that begins to loosen up as you go. So,
and then what I'm saying is then it starts tightening back in.
And then it begins to tighten back in, like as you get older.
Because you're just like, I don't want to do it. Why do it?
Yeah, if you got 250 houses, why take another one that might work?
Or this is like, for me, this is the middle of the fairway. Like,
that's right.
You don't have to swing for the fences anymore on certain things.
So today it was options are low and inventory was low, rates are high. What do you do? I hope these are some sticking points of things that you can be doing right now. Books you can go to read. I know we didn't mention a lot of books, but if you want to, that might be a call to action. If you'd like a couple of good beginner books to read, shoot me an email, dean@CrestCore.com. I'll be happy to introduce all that stuff to you. So anything else to add today?
No, man. I mean, I guess, it's just when options are limited, what we talk about is somebody out there, could be you, is going to have the best year of their life this year.
Yeah. I love that. It's
Somebody,
been relative here.
It's been relative, right? In 2023, like somebody was the number one agent in Memphis. Like somebody's going to have their best year ever.
Yeah. And there's no reason why it can't be you.
There's no reason why it can't be you. So don't, just turn this obstacle into opportunity. That's what I'd say.
That's it.
Yeah.
Great show today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next week.